you convert knowledge to something else at a later stage in life. As you accumulate experiences, as you go through life and learn through experiences, you convert the knowledge to wisdom. And that is what you impart over time. So knowledge is the first step that you need. The second step is skills. Once you have the knowledge, you run on to get skills. How do I get there? What do I do? What do I need to do? You start asking yourself questions. You start thinking. You start planning. You start working on it, becoming, running around. Then you start expressing yourself again. What do I need to do? How do I need to do it? And the third step, of course, is your attitude towards it. Where all these three meet, knowledge, skill, and attitude, if you have three circles intertwined amongst themselves, there will be a point where all three will meet. That meeting point, Stephen Covey has called a habit. A habit is formed only where knowledge, skill, and attitude meet. Attitude, as we've all seen in The Secret and Napoleon Hill's work, is nothing but a thinking process. It's our opinions about things. Okay? So wherever knowledge, skill, and attitude meet, you will find a habit is created. And something very strange came to my mind as I was reading through this. I said, if you know how to develop a habit, it's very easy to find out how to break a habit. All you need to do is cut off one of the rings, either knowledge or skill or attitude. Just break them up. And your habit will automatically be broken. Now, which is the easiest of the three to break? Attitude. Because you can do nothing about knowledge, you already have that. You can't do anything about skills. That's part of your psyche as well. The only thing is attitude. All you need to do is change your attitude about it, change your opinion about it. For people who smoke, I used to smoke 20 sticks a day for a long time. But it's been about 17, 18 years now that I've given up smoking. I used to drink too. And I don't drink a drop anymore. Once in a while, social drinking, once in a year, if at all. But I don't do that anymore. That's because I found that my attitude towards these things were different then as it is now. I found a very good person in the form of a nutritionist who came into my life during one of my doctor visits and explained to me what smoking does. Smoking not only closes off the alveoli in the chest, makes it darker. Every year of smoking requires 2 years of non-smoking to clear up the inside, the tar. Not only that, my friend once told me that you can stop smoking for 10 years, 15 years, 20 years, for as long as you want. But the moment you smoke one cigarette, after stopping it for a week, a month, a year, 5, 10, whatever, you would have spoiled the entire time. You would have wasted your entire time not smoking. That one cigarette can really spoil your life. So, I mean, those few things changed my attitude. And the moment I walked out of the nutritionist office, the moment, I didn't even sit in the car yet, first thing I did was throw away my cigarette packets of cigarettes and my lighter. I don't want it on my body. Because I don't want to go through mental disturbance all the time, trying to think about what she said, what he said. Hell with that, I don't want to smoke. So that's basically how I got rid of smoking. And I think that's one of the best things that Stephen Covey talks about, because if you know how to create a habit, you can break it as well. Very easy. Okay? And this is something which I think can be very nicely combined with teachings of Napoleon Hill and what we learned about in The Secret. It's nothing but attitude. It's nothing but thoughts. It's nothing but planning, which is again thought in one form or another. And that's why the emphasis was on thoughts on The Secret. That whatever you think, you can create. It doesn't say you will create, but you can create. Okay? So that's definiteness of purpose, one of the first things that Napoleon Hill talked about in Your Right to Be Rich. Definite of purpose. You must have a goal. And the goal must be so strong, so much involved you must be in that goal, That you think that goal, you eat that goal, you sleep that goal, you do everything only with that goal in mind, nothing else. Focus, just focus, nothing else. I've also written down some thoughts on focus itself. We'll try to talk about it if we have some time later on. The second thing on Napoleon Hill's Your Right to Be Rich is a mastermind. Napoleon Hill came from a very poor family, very, very, very poor family. Okay, and his mother died, and when he was quite young, his father remarried. He had a stepmother, and his stepmother was the first part of the mastermind that Napoleon Hill went on to create. And they were the only two people in a mastermind group that pushed Napoleon Hill to go and do the kind of work. He worked, now listen to this is really incredible. Napoleon Hill worked for our friend Andrew Carnegie, the person who developed steel mills here in the United States. Okay? He worked for Andrew Carnegie for 20 years. Andrew Carnegie, by the way, was the richest person during his time in the US here. Okay? And Napoleon Hill worked for Andrew Carnegie for 20 years without pay. How many of us would be willing to work for 20 minutes without pay?
Right.
I mean, this is something to think about, really. He worked for 20 years. All his friends, all his relatives, all his people that he knew were saying, "You're crazy, you're a fool, you don't know what you..." And it was his mother, his stepmother, that said, "Don't worry, I know what you're doing is right. Go ahead and do it." 20 years he got support from his stepmother. And Andrew Carnegie was the third part of his mastermind group. And then he went on to develop a relationship and an association with another very famous author. I don't recall his name at the moment, but I will as it comes along. So these were a few people in his mastermind group, and that's why he says that if I had not created this mastermind group with his stepmother initially, who just supported him to work for 20 years. What was his work? His work was to do research for Andrew Carnegie. Andrew Carnegie believed that there is a system which can be worked and developed that can make anyone the kind of riches they dream about, they think about. So Napoleon Hill went to interview all the rich people in the United States. For 20 years, all he did was take notes and talk to people. Now, if you want to go see a client, a rich client, you know, somebody who's a CEO of a company, you say, "I don't think it's good to give me time. I'm nobody. Nobody knows me. Look at the clothes I'm wearing. I mean, I don't even have a good shirt, a clean shirt to wear today. And I don't think he's going to give me the time of the day, even to talk to me for 5 minutes." And then you go into that mode of depression. And say, "Forget it. I don't want to make calls today. I want to go home and rest." Okay? This is what Napoleon Hill went through as well. But because of his mastermind group support, he came to understand that that person is the CEO of the company because he's the best in his field. I am the best in my field. So why shouldn't I go and see him? What's stopping me from going and seeing him? Which is fair. Is it not? So he started thinking on those stuff. I am good in my field. I can talk to people. I can give them all the data that I have, and I can ask them questions, the right questions to give me the right answers, to develop this philosophy of thinking rich. And that's what he did. He developed it to that point where he didn't care about the person's status, the person's financial background, his economic background, his family background, whatever the case may be. He just went and spoke to people. He doesn't care. He had a list, and that list he filled, he talked to everybody, and he developed his philosophy. Andrew Carnegie unfortunately died before Napoleon Hill could share this philosophy with the world and prove that what Andrew Carnegie had dreamed, that this philosophy of becoming rich is practical, is workable, and has made Napoleon Hill the richest man of his time. His stepmother unfortunately also couldn't